Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to the show. Josh Poet with you, First Contact Radio. I hope you made it through the weekend. There's been a lot of activity, earthquakes around the world, big 7-pointers taking place in the Tonga area and Turkey the other day. Hope everybody is safe and your life is getting back together, whatever may have occurred for you there. Got a lot of news and information today. Let's get into it, starting off with our dream spell. The date for today is a yellow overtone seed. Yellow overtone seed guided by the human. Yellow is the color of ripening. The overtone 5 is tone number 5. It's called the overtone tone of radiance. This symbol for today, the daykin, is the seed. The seed is all about flowering. And then, of course, the guide for today, the human, is all about the power of free will. Our phrase for today is, I am power, in order to target commanding awareness. I seal the input of flowering with the overtone tone of radiance. I am guided by the power of free will. On the Gregorian calendar, it is Monday, October 24th, 2011. So we have a lot of news and information today, so I'm just going to get right to it, starting off with Dirk Bradshaw and a report about Gaddafi. Dirk, over to you.
The government of Libya announced the death of Muammar Gaddafi. This marks the end of a long and painful chapter for the people of Libya.
Hey there, everyone. I am Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News, and tonight we have a special report on the death of Muammar Gaddafi. The other day, our friend here at First Contact Radio, Joshua Poet, had a fantastic idea. He asked you, the audience, to watch Fox News or CNN and to take notes of the story that you saw and then go on the internet and investigate it yourself. Well, tonight we're going to kind of do something like that. First, we're going to take a look at how the mainstream media handled the death of Muammar Gaddafi. Let's take a look.
If you're just waking up, there is breaking news out of Libya. Reports that Muammar Gaddafi has been captured or possibly killed.
Breaking news just into CNN that Muammar Gaddafi has been captured in Libya.
Wow. Huh.
Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. Yeah. Unconfirmed.
We know now from our sources in Misrata that we have a big fish. Misrata Radio confirmed that big figure is Muammar Gaddafi himself.
They say they discovered him here just before 12 o'clock this afternoon. They pulled him out of the hole, and one fighter told me that Muammar Gaddafi said to him, "What did I do to you?"
There are now reports that former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi is dead. Now, is that a new one, guys? Because before we had that he was captured. Now the new information is that he is dead.
Celebrations in the streets of Libya. The rebels there reacting to reports that Muammar Gaddafi is dead.
We can now confirm to you, God Almighty, our correspondent in Tripoli has confirmed the following news. Our correspondent Abdullah Blaitan has confirmed that Gaddafi has been killed. His body is now in Misrata.
Today, the government of Libya announced the death of Muammar Gaddafi. Today, we can definitively say that the Gaddafi regime has come to an end.
NATO got it right. NATO got it right. And guess what? Libya, Gaddafi, one way or another, is gone. Whether he's alive or dead, he's gone. The people of Libya have gotten rid of a dictator of 40 years who I personally knew. This is one tough, not so nice guy. And guess what? They got a chance now. But what happened? In this case, America spent $2 billion total and didn't lose a single life.
Now, let's look at the full story. Some believe that the murder of Muammar Gaddafi was all about protecting civilians. Others would say it's about oil. And some are convinced that the intervention and the death of Gaddafi was because of his plan to introduce the gold dinar, a single African currency made from gold, a true sharing of the wealth. Gaddafi did not give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and the euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world for the gold dinars. It is an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. A country's wealth depends on how much gold it had, and not how many dollars it traded. And Libya has 144 tons of gold. Now the UK, for example, has twice as much, but 10 times the population. If Gaddafi had an intent to try and reprice his oil or whatever else the country was selling on the global market, and accepting something else as currency, maybe launch the gold dinar, any move such as that would certainly not be welcomed by the power elite today, who are responsible for controlling the world's central banks. So yes, that would certainly be something that would cause his immediate dismissal or death, and it's happened before. In 2000, Saddam Hussein announced Iraq oil would be traded in euros, not dollars. Some say sanctions and an invasion followed because the Americans were desperate to prevent OPEC from transferring oil trading in all its members' countries to the euro. A gold dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may have also empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the U.S. wants to avoid at all costs. And that is the full picture of how and why Gaddafi was assassinated. But of course, don't take my word for it. Take some notes and investigate this for yourself. I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News Network. It's time to wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing. What they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is Josh, and this is the UFO News for today. I've got a couple of stories for you. Let's get right to them. First story comes to us from Fresno, California. Daytime morphing object was recorded in the sky above Fresno, California on Saturday, the 22nd of October, around 5:50 p.m. Let's check this out. Alright, what you see here is you're going to see the typical UFO that we see with the round spherical object that is up there. The cameraman is a little bit shaky here in the camera, so it's not that the ship is moving back and forth or whatever it is, it's actually the camera that's moving a bit. Alright, and as it goes through, it's just pretty much the same thing, but this was over Fresno, California. Alright? Alright, moving right along. Our next story comes to us from Russia. Let's check this one out here. It says, latest UFO sightings. UFO footage of unknown bright object hovering in the night sky was recorded in Belgorod, a city and the administrative center of Belgorod Oblast, Russia, situated in the Seversky Donets River just 40 kilometers north of the Ukrainian border. This was also from Saturday, the 22nd of October. Check this one out. Now, we saw something like this last week. And, okay, it starts off with one light here. In a moment, you're going to see a couple of other lights. Got another one coming into view up here. And let's see. Okay, now, right here we've got these three lights here together. So this looks kind of like a triangular shaped object. You can tell because they seem to be equidistant from each other, the lights. So there's probably one on each of the corners of the triangle here. And then as it goes along, it moves. You can still see they're still same about distance apart even when the object moves. You got the other light still out here, the singular one. Alright, and that's pretty much the extent of what that one is. And this next story here, our last one of the UFO stories for today, this is about Project Sign. You know about this one? It's a government project. It says, you know, U.S. government study found that UFOs are real and probably operated by non-human aliens from other planets, as opposed to human aliens from other planets. These are non-human aliens. Okay, Project Sign, it says, was an official government study on the UFOs undertaken by the United States Air Force in 1948. They published their final report in early 1949, and it simply stated that UFOs are real. The only thing we don't know is their actual origin. Sign officially argued that UFOs were likely of extraterrestrial origin, and the most project's personnel came to favor the extraterrestrial hypothesis before the opinion was rejected and Sign was dissolved and replaced with Project Grudge. The extraterrestrial hypothesis is that some UFOs are best explained as ET life or non-human aliens from other planets occupying physical spacecraft visiting Earth. Should be noted that the name changes from Sign to Grudge was very much intentional and gives a clear indication that the military grudgingly continued to investigate UFO phenomena. For the first time the public heard about this was 1956 from the book Report on Unidentified Flying Objects by retired Air Force Captain Edward Ruppelt. Alright, and here's a little brief synopsis of their findings. The findings were not vague at all. The first one is the phenomena reported as something real, not visionary or fictitious. Second, there are objects probably approximately the shape of a disc, of such appreciable size as to appear to be as large as a man-made aircraft. Then there is also the possibility that some of the incidents may be caused by natural phenomena such as meteors. The reported operating characteristics and such extreme rates of climb, maneuverability, particularly in roll, and action, which must be considered evasive when sighted or contacted by friendly aircraft and radar, lend belief to the possibility that some of the objects are controlled either manually, automatically, or remotely, and it is possible within the present U.S. knowledge to construct a piloted aircraft which has the following descriptions: metallic or light reflecting, absence of trail, well-kept formation flights from 3 to 9 objects, normally associated with no sound, and flight level speeds above 300 knots are estimated. Now you can see there's a bit more to this article. I'm not going to go over this. I'm going to leave that up for you to read. FirstContactRadio.com, right-hand side of the page, UFO News for today. And that, brief as it is our UFO News for today. We got lots of other stuff to get to. I'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
You know, that more people get news and information now from alternative media like First Contact with Joshua Poet. It's now becoming a legitimate form of news and information, and that's important. And Joshua Poet takes it very seriously, and every one of these stories is heavily researched before it goes out there, so that it's guaranteed to have nothing but the truth.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. So, you probably didn't hear on much of the mainstream about Ron Paul, but Ron Paul did win the Ohio Republican straw poll. Goes on to say Texas Congressman Ron Paul has won the latest Republican presidential straw poll. The Texas Republican, who continues to trail former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney in national polls, captured the support of 53% of Ohio Republicans. Former businessman Herman Cain won the support of 26%, while Mitt Romney captured 8%, and the rest of the Republican field captured less than 5%. So there you go. Ron Paul, 50% in Ohio. They say that's an important state, and Ron Paul's doing very well. One thing you can do is you can keep on top of our news stories. I post them every day on Facebook. I put the show for the day, and I keep updates there. So you can join us over at Facebook, and you'll be able to stay on top of all this kind of news and information, and then share the stories. That's the beauty of the social networking today. You get a story, you share it, and it spreads the word. And that's what is really good about how we can share information, because the mainstream media certainly isn't doing its part in making sure that it gets out there. So we as citizens of the world need to make sure we do our part. Now, the next story I'm going to bring your attention to has to do with Elenin. Remember last week we were talking all about Elenin and Nibiru, and it's more than just last week. It's been quite some time, and these pictures have come out. They're on the website tomhartman.com. And as you can see here, what I'm going to ask is that help me with some verification of this, because I'm not certain of the reality of this or not, other than these images show the sun and another object you can see right next to the sun. And in this one here, it's pretty large and spherical. It's definitely looks like a large planet. Now, there are those saying that this is just a lens flare. And then there are those who say, well, the lens flare wouldn't have a shadow on it. As you notice, there's a shadow across this right here. The other point is that if there was an object of this size out there, everyone would be seeing it. But then again, if this is being viewed through a lens that is allowing you to see a bit more of what's going on in the sun without the bright light shining in your eyes, then maybe it's out there and people just aren't seeing it. This video here has a little bit, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just showing it as it evolves and moves, same thing as the pictures up here. So, is something out there? I don't know. If you get an opportunity and you have a camera, some way that you can look at the sun, maybe use a filter to block out some of that brightness so you can see what's going on. Take a look and see what you find out. See what you think about this. Watch this video. Let me know. FirstContactRadio@yahoo.com is where you can send that information, because we're all curious on knowing what's out there. And, if there is something out there, maybe this might be close enough why these big earthquakes are happening. You see, over the weekend there was a number of 7-point earthquakes. There were several down in the Tonga region. They had 3 in a row. that were 7.2 to 7.4 range. And then yesterday there was the big 7.3 in Turkey. Now I know that they're saying it's a 7.2 or 7.1 and some of the other media services. However, if you go and you look at the different earthquake sites, you'll find that they're actually shown as like 7.3, 7.4 at some places. So pretty good, powerful earthquake. I hope the people are finding a way to recover out there, and our prayers and thoughts go out with all of them. Moving right along. Our country here, the United States of America, unfortunately has a lot of hypocrisy to it. This is some of the hypocrisy that's going on right now. This is a video that includes Hillary Clinton and the president talking about injustices in the world, and as you will notice, the video clips that support what they're talking about are clips that have to do with Americans. So check this out, and I think you're going to be quite surprised by what you see here. At least I hope you are.
To have a role in the decisions that will shape their lives. Leaders need to respond to these aspirations.
Hold on a second here.
Are seeking a chance to contribute and to have a role in the decisions that will shape. Leaders need to respond to these aspirations and to help build that better future for all. They need to view civil society as their partner, not as a threat.
Take this opportunity to update the American people about the situation in Libya. Last month, protesters took to the streets across the country to demand their universal rights, a government that is accountable to them and responsive to their aspirations. But they were met with an iron fist.
Freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, and freedom of the press.
Come here, Chris. Do you want to get arrested or no?
Are pillars of an open and inclusive society. There is a clear responsibility by the Egyptian government to hold accountable those responsible for these attacks.
Exercise their universal rights. We call upon the Iranian government to abide by the international obligations that it has to respect the rights of its own people. We call for the immediate release of all who have been unjustly detained. And I'm confident that history will be on the side of those who seek justice.
Jail right now, because I will not, after all that my parents gave me, I can do one thing for them and tell them that I would rather die than be quiet and watch everything that they worked for go away.
When all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and singing the words of the old Negro spiritual. I'm not moving. I'm not moving. And I'm not moving. I'm a law student at George Washington University, and I'm not moving. I will go to jail tonight because it's not right.
We are against violence, and we would call to account the Iranian government that is once again using its security forces and resorting to violence to prevent the free expression of ideas from their own people.
Instead of respecting the rights of his own people, Gaddafi chose the path of brutal suppression. Innocent civilians were imprisoned.
I have not been read my rights. I have not been told I am being detained.
We want to know the people who are in there. We want to know all their names, what they're being charged with.
And in some cases, beaten.
I can't breathe, officer. Please get off the stand. I need my inhaler.
A campaign of intimidation and repression began.
It is the responsibility of the government of Libya to respect the universal rights of their own people, including their right to free expression and assembly.
What's his badge number? What is his badge number?
Demonstrators have been beaten, attacked. It is absolutely clear that the Syrian government is running out of time.
Each new depiction of the abuses of the police on the First Amendment, the more people will show up here in New York City, and the more waves of occupation will spread across this country. And you should be proud of that, police, because you are participating in our media publicity campaign. Thank you for attending.
What is absolutely clear is that we are witnessing history unfold. It's a moment of transformation that's taking place because the people of Egypt are calling for change. They've turned out in extraordinary numbers, representing all ages and all walks of life. But it's young people who've been at the forefront. A new generation. Your generation, who want their voices to be heard.
All right, as you can see, lots of people are stepping up out there, and the government is doing its part to try to keep people suppressed. They don't want people to talk about such things. And it's crazy because these injustices they're talking about are taking place right here in this country, here in America. I mean, who would have thought, right, that we would be in this kind of place? But we are, and it just doesn't make any sense. The police brutality out there is just absolutely crazy. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but why the police have lost all integrity, but they seem like they have. You know, maybe they're just afraid. Is that what it is? Are you just afraid out there, policemen? Are you afraid because you don't know how to deal with this situation? Thing is, you got to stop beating on people because it's out of control. And the people are going to turn against you, and you are going to be without a place to go. Because you're protecting the criminals. Okay? You're protecting the criminals, and you think that somehow, because you're protecting them, they're going to think and include you with their group. They're not. You're going to lose your pensions. You're going to lose your jobs. You're going to lose everything, and then you're going to turn to be part of the American people to rebel against them, and guess what? The people aren't going to care what you have to say because you've beaten on them. So you got to stop beating on them. You really have to. The governments have to change. The police have to change their ways. The integrity that has been missing needs to be replaced. Otherwise, you're definitely going to have something to be afraid of because the American people will run you over because we're not going to take this anymore. You see what's going on around the world. People have stepped up. Well, it's happening here now in the States, and people are going to step up. So either you're going to serve and protect and be a part of the people, or you're not. But it appears right now that you're choosing the wrong side. You need to get on the side with the people because that's who you're part of. You're not part of the 1% of the wealthiest ones. You're not part of that group. So if you think you are, wake up. You're not. So stop beating Americans and stop beating people around the world because it's wrong. And if you keep doing that, you're going to be sorry because it's going to all go against all of you, all around the world. People are going to turn their backs on you, and then you're really going to be afraid because there's millions more of us than there are of you. So come on now. Come correct. Do the right thing and quit acting so pathetically because none of us like that. Now, I'm going to play this movie here. This is from Occupy Wall Street. There's a saying the mainstream media wants you to keep believing that there isn't a single idea or a single thread that's going through there, and that is not the case at all. There's actually a declaration that was written up and proposals and ideas. You know, it's not just the hippies that are out there. Yes, there are hippies out there, and they want free government and free things and bigger government, it seems. Well, that's not what this is really all about. There's the people that are out there that want to end the Fed. That's the problem. The Federal Reserve that is printing up all of this money and causing all of these problems, not just here but around the world. We need to stop this. We need to stand up against these kind of things. Pay attention to what you're standing up for out there, people. This isn't about getting free things from the government. It's about the government is out of control and needs to be reduced in size. This is an opportunity, like the Constitution of the United States says, for a redress of grievances with our government. And according to the Constitution, we have the right to do that. But you see police officers beating people for stepping up for their rights. That's because the police officers themselves do not even know the Constitution. How sad is that? You've got guys out there with guns, thugs, the largest gang in the country, thugs, policemen, with guns and no brains because they don't understand the basic principles of integrity and honor. Some of them do, and for those of you who do, you need to stand up and you need to tell your brothers and sisters that are screwing up, and you need to either get them out or you need to get them to change their ways because they're giving you a bad name. Because I know there's good ones out there, but the stories we hear over and over are only the bad ones. The idiots who are doing all the stupid things and beating on people. So stop that. Let's make a change. Let's make it for the better, because it can be for the better. Now, this is a declaration of ideas that have come out of the movement, and it is being read by Keith Olbermann. I'm going to play this. Listen to it. I think you'll get a lot from it.
As we gather together in solidarity to express a feeling of mass injustice, we must not lose sight of what brought us together. We write so that all people who feel wronged by the corporate forces of the world can know that we are your allies. As one people, united, we acknowledge the reality that the future of the human race requires the cooperation of its members, that our system must protect our rights, and upon corruption of that system, it is up to the individuals to protect their own rights and those of their neighbors, that the democratic government derives its just power from the people, but corporations do not seek consent to extract wealth from the people and the earth, and that no true democracy is attainable when the process is determined by economic power. We come to you at a time when corporations, which place profit over people, self-interest over justice, and oppression over equality, run our governments. We have peaceably assembled here, as is our right, to let these facts be known. They have taken our houses through an illegal foreclosure process despite not having the original mortgage. They have taken bailouts from taxpayers with impunity and continue to give executives exorbitant bonuses. They have perpetuated inequality and discrimination in workplaces based on age, the color of one's skin, sex, gender identity, and sexual orientation. They have poisoned the food supply through negligence and undermined the farming system through monopolization. They have profited off the torture, confinement, and cruel treatment of countless animals and actively hide these practices. They have continuously sought to strip employees of the right to negotiate for better pay and safer working conditions. They have held students hostage with tens of thousands of dollars of debt on education, which is itself a human right. They have consistently outsourced labor and used that outsourcing as leverage to cut workers' health care and pay. They have influenced the courts to achieve the same rights as people with none of the culpability or responsibility. They have spent millions of dollars on legal teams, but look for ways to get them out of contracts in regards to health insurance. They have sold our privacy as a commodity. They have used the military and police force to prevent freedom of the press. They have deliberately declined to recall faulty products, endangering lives in pursuit of profit. They determine economic policy despite the catastrophic failures their policies have produced and continue to produce. They have donated large sums of money to politicians who are responsible for regulating health. They continue to block alternate forms of energy to keep us dependent on oil. They continue to block charities and nets that could save people's lives and provide money in order to protect investments that have already turned a substantial profit. They have purposely covered up oil spills, accidents, faulty bookkeeping, and inactive ingredients in pursuit of profit. They purposefully kept people misinformed and fearful through their control of the media. They have accepted private contracts to murder prisoners, even when presented with serious doubts about their guilt. They have perpetuated colonialism at home and abroad. They have participated in the torture and murder of innocent civilians overseas. They continue to create weapons of mass destruction in order to receive government contracts. To the people of the world, we, the New York City General Assembly, occupying Wall Street and Liberty Square, urge you to assert your power, exercise your right to peaceably assemble, occupy public space, create a process to address the problems we face, and generate solutions accessible to everyone. To all communities that take action and form groups in the spirit of direct democracy, we offer support, documentation, and all the resources at our disposal. Join us and make your voices heard.
Long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its maximum hour of danger. You are that generation. This is your role. Now is that time. Freedom must be defended from every assailant in every corner of this country, from outside the country, from inside the country, and especially from the government that wants to take it away from us. Stop them. An idea whose time has come cannot be stopped by any army or any government.
All right, my friends. See, the whole idea now is to spread the word. Spread the word, my friends, because you know what? Revolution is here. Whether you like it or not, whether you're afraid of it or not, it has arrived and it's at your doorstep. The question is, what are you going to do about it? You got to do something. Find something to do. Find a way to get your voice out there. Write a blog. Make a website. Do a radio show. Go out at the protest. Do something. Just don't sit there doing nothing, because your country is asking for your help. Not just this country, but the world. There's a lot of problems going on in the world today, and they can only be fixed if we, the people, stand up. Here in the United States, those are the first three words of the Constitution. I'm going to play a bit about the Constitution now. The first three words are we, the people. We, the people. So therefore, we are the ones who have to fix the problem. We've been sitting too long on our couches, playing our video games, eating our fast foods, and ignoring what's really important, while the criminals have taken charge. Well, now it's time for the criminals to go. It's time for them to be out of there, and it's time for good people to start getting involved. And that's where we come in. Do your part, my friends. Don't just sit there. Find something to do. The time is now. Revolution is at hand. You know, it's the 24th, 4 days from now. The Mayan calendar, the long count, actually comes to an end. And there's a window of time between the 28th and then the 2012 date of December 21st. It's like a window of time when there's a lot of change that's going to take place. The change that's taking place is taking place right now. The mainstream media doesn't want you to know because they're part of the problem as well. But we can fix it. Revolution is in the air, my friends. Revolution. Just like the Founding Fathers. Let's take their example and their lead, because we don't have any leaders right now that are running our governments that are giving us the proper example. But there's a lot of people out there in the independent media and a lot of people standing up in places like the Occupy movements all around the world that are standing up, that are doing the right thing. We need to take care of ourselves because the governments aren't going to do it. It's time for us, my friends. Revolution or revolution or revolution. Now, I'm going to play a part about the Constitution, and I'm going to do this for the next 5 days because many people don't know what the Constitution of the United States is. It's a founding document that this country was founded upon. These are basic rules and principles for us to follow. It's disappointing to go and find out that you got a video up here that's been up for since April 20th of 2009. It's only had 46,000 viewings. 46,000 viewings in that amount of time for the Constitution of the United States, really? And then you go down and you look at some of the stupid comments here, and you have comments where people are talking about, you know, it's time to move forward, and it's time to rewrite it, it's no good, it's just a piece of paper. Those people aren't paying attention. I'm going to play this now. Listen to this and understand what this is about. This is first part of 5.
Hello, this is the U.S. Constitution, 5 Key Concepts Everyone Should Know, Part 1. Please watch Part 2 after viewing this Part 1. Hello, my name is Craig Seibert, and this short web seminar is titled The U.S. Constitution, 5 Key Concepts Everyone Should Know. And if you're an international listener, please stay with us as we take a look at this key founding document for the United States of America and look at its concepts. 90% of today's Americans have never heard what you're about to hear. In the late 1700s, however, 90% of Americans had a basic understanding of the concepts in this web seminar. Thomas Jefferson, 3rd President of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence, said this: "The price of freedom is eternal vigilance." And so we hope, as we look at these concepts, a new enthusiasm for freedom and understanding the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence will stir in the hearts and soul of the listeners. So the first concept that we want to talk about is the fact that the Declaration of Independence and U.S. Constitution work together. And there's actually a short web seminar on this topic, but to summarize, the Declaration of Independence serves as the charter or the purpose document for the United States, why the United States was founded and on the core principles on which it was founded. And then the U.S. Constitution serves as the bylaws for the United States. That is, it's our organizational document and how we'll govern ourselves. And so this is a key concept, that the Declaration and the Constitution work together, and that the Constitution acts on the principles and beliefs that are written in the Charter for the United States, that is, the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence, of course, was signed July 4th, 1776. It was over 11 years later that the U.S. Constitution was pulled together, and this graphic is just simply to show the difference in size of the two documents, the Declaration being about 1,400 words long and the Constitution being about 4,500 words long. Finally, there's an additional part of the Constitution not shown here that was added shortly after the initial ratification or during it, and that is the Bill of Rights, and it is a concise listing of the rights of the citizens of the United States as well as the rights of the states, and there's 10 items in the Bill of Rights. Now, as a next step, let's take a look at understanding the basic structure of the main body of the Constitution. And here we show what is typically viewed by people as the first and main page. The first key concept is this: the total length of the United States Constitution is over 4,500 words. About 4,000 of these words describe how the three branches of government are to operate, and we'll take a look at that. And then another 400 words describe the relationship between the states and the process for making amendments to the Constitution. Here in this diagram, we show how these three branches of government are broken up, both by way of sequence, but also how much text of the Constitution is dedicated to each of the three branches. The first branch that's listed in the U.S. Constitution is the legislative branch, called Congress. And there's two parts of the legislative branch, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And they are identified in Article 1 of the Constitution and listed here. It's interesting to note that the House of Representatives is discussed first, then followed by the Senate. And as we'll discuss later, there's significance in this sequence in that the founders believed that the House of Representatives would be the slightly more powerful of the three branches because it was closest to the people. There would be a balance of powers, but the House of Representatives has some unique characteristics and responsibilities. The second branch of government that's listed is the executive branch, beginning down here and then up into this section here. The third branch of government is the judicial branch, the Supreme Court. And then the remaining part of the government or Constitution deals with the relationship between the states and the process for making amendments. What might be lost in this process, though, is the importance of the first 52 words. We've looked at the document as it's been bracketed in this fashion, but if you look at the first 52 words of the Constitution, you'll find that these are the most important. And the first 52 words are literally contained in this small box here. And so as you can see, by way of quantity of words, 52 words out of 4,500 is not many, and yet they're the most important words in the Constitution. They state the 6 core purposes for which the Constitution was written. These 6 core purposes serve to define and limit the remaining 4,450 words of the Constitution. And so these words are so important that they literally dictate what the rest of the Constitution should be guided by way of interpretation. And as I had said previously, this Constitution also is interpreted or built upon the Declaration of Independence. And so the flow would be from the Declaration to these 52 words, and those two things then in turn would interpret the rest of this document. Well, what do those first 52 words say? We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, to establish justice, to ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for common defense, to promote the general welfare, and to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution. Now, for the sake of simplicity and clarity, let me reduce these even further so you can see the six aspects. We, the people of the United States, in order to connect the states together, to establish justice, to ensure peace, to provide for defense, to promote the general welfare, and to secure liberty now and in the future. These are the 6 aspects of what the rest of the Constitution is designed to support and to guide. Let me also note here that to promote the general welfare as it would have been understood in 1787 did not mean the modern government welfare programs of today. What that meant was to create a fair economic playing field that all parties that were citizens of the United States could have access to use their gifts, skills, abilities, and talents to pursue the dreams and goals that they had in life, but not the government handouts that we associate with welfare today. As I've said already, everything else in the Constitution is supposed to serve only these 6 purposes. As citizens of the United States, we need to memorize these first 52 words. What a difference it would make. To continue this seminar, you'll want to watch part 2 now after watching this brief close of some other helpful resources. As we conclude, there are some additional resources you may want to take advantage of after watching the YouTube videos on this playlist. For more freedom videos, check out July4thfreedom.com. For tools on growing in your faith, check out the 21dayfaithexperiment.org. For complete worldview training that integrates faith and life, check out biblicalworldviewtraining.org. And then finally, to team up with other young professionals that are making a difference in the world, check out PriorityAssociates.org. My name is Greg Seibert. Thank you for listening.
All right, that is the United States Constitution, a very important document. Now, the Constitution was written to limit the power of government. However, in the years that have gone by, the government has written all these amendments in order to give them more power. They didn't like that their power was limited. They want more. Why? Because they are greedy. That is the problem that is going on in the world right now. You have the Federal Reserve, which is a greedy organization, which has reached out and infected others with this greediness as well. So you have Wall Street, which is filled with greedy people, and then you have Washington filled with greedy people. And now that you have Obama in the White House, well, you have all of these Wall Streeters, which are now part of Washington. One of the things the Founding Fathers said was to keep the bank out of the government. They warned that if we allowed the bank into the government, that would be a problem. Guess what? The bank is now involved with our government, the very things the Founding Fathers warned against. We've gone and we've done exactly what they said not to. The Federal Reserve, which has been a big problem since 1913, should not be involved with our government, but now we have a presidential candidate who used to be part of the Federal Reserve, Herman Cain. And then he denies his real importance, or really denies that they were involved with any problem making, saying that at the time that he was there, they ran things differently. So I guess all the way up to the time when he took office in the Federal Reserve, and then after he left, everything's been corrupt, but while he was there, it was all good. If you believe Herman Cain, well, I got a large bridge to sell you to nowhere, and don't believe any of those words they're saying, my friends. They're just lies. They're corporate media lies, because that's what they want you to believe. They're corporate lies, and that's not the truth of what we're about. What we're about is change. We're about the gifts that God has given us to evolve. And the only way we're going to do that is by standing up against all of this injustice. We have to stand up against that, my friends. So for our meditation today, we're going to focus on the concept of courage, because it takes courage to stand up, and we're at a time right now where we need to stand up and be courageous. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you all to close your eyes and relax. Take a deep breath and exhale. Take another deep breath, and as you take this deep breath, imagine that you're gathering together inside of you all of the doubts and the fears that you have. All of those doubts and fears, and just bring them all together and exhale them out into the world and release them. And as they get released, send love and light to them so they go out, transform them into some positive energy, release them so they can return back as recycled energy, recycled positive energy. Now I want you to take a deep breath and inhale the word courage. C-O-U-R-A-G-E. Inhale that word. Feel your body being energized with this courage. And as your body is energized with this courage, feel the healing that is taking place. Feel the strength that your body has. For this is our true spirit, my friends. This is our true nature, courage. For the spirit the Lord has given us is not a cowardly spirit, my friends, but one that is strong and loving and wise. Therefore we must be courageous, and we must not be afraid. For even though these times ahead of us are challenging. They are times that are going to allow us to grow. So immerse yourself in this courage. Allow yourself to soak in all of this courage. And then use this courage in the world and find ways that you can express your courage in the world today. Think of the courage of the founding fathers of this country. Think of the courage of the founding fathers of other countries. Think of the courage of the visionaries and the leaders that have brought us through civilization to civilization. The great thinkers of the world. The great minds of the world. The great leaders of the world. They were all courageous. We need to be courageous now, my friends. So hold that courageous in. And what I want you to do now is from your heart space, just send out courage to everyone. Share that courage with each other, my friends. Share the courage so we can all be brave. We can all go out there and be strong. Let's imagine all of our chakras are turned on, starting with the bottom of the spine, red. Raise the energy up to chakra number 2 at the belly button. Imagine the color orange. From there, raise the energy up to the 3rd chakra. Imagine the color yellow. Just below the rib cage. Raise the energy up to the heart. Imagine the color green. Up to your throat. Imagine the color blue at your throat chakra. Then go to the 3rd eye, which is right between your eyebrows, above the top of your nose. Imagine the color of violet. And then go to the top of your head, your crown chakra, and imagine the color indigo. And the light continues on into the sky as bright white light. From your heart chakra, send out love all around the world. Feel the love that's being sent. And know that others are feeling the love that you are sending out as well. And last but not least, let us just think a positive thought for everyone in the world, wishing a good day for everyone. Wishing strength and courage for everyone. And while we're holding that thought in our mind, let's bring ourselves back to the present moment and do so on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. That, my friends, is our prayer, our meditation. That is our show for today. Go out there and be courageous. Find a way to be involved with the process that is going on. Because change is happening. This is a great time to be alive. History is truly being made each and every day. Be a part of history. Maybe down the road people will be reading about you and the courage that you projected into the world and the positivity you projected into the world. Don't let your fears get in your way. Let courage move you past any and all of those fears and doubts, and you'll be amazed at how far it will take you. For Dirk Bradshaw, my name's Josh Poet. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, you be safe and have fun. I'll talk to you later. Peace. I'm out of here.